Hey everyone. So I listened to such a good podcast on my bike ride, and I knew right away that I wanted to kind of share some of my musings about it with my community. So this was the April 27th episode of the Robcast, an amazing podcast. And Rob and Kristen Bell were speaking about the word apocalypse. The word apocalypse. And the Greek root of the word apocalypse is to reveal or to uncover. And so I've really been thinking about what is asking to be revealed or uncovered in my own life, both personally and collectively. So I wanted to riff on this a little bit and see kind of how it lands for you. So one of the things they talked about is this idea that the deepest hope comes from despair. And I was thinking a lot about what it looks like to make sacred space to hold both hope and despair kind of really lovingly in front of us. And thinking too for my own life, and I think for so many of us, the most profound hope and the most profound learning has only come from those moments when we've been knocked on our tushes, like from the depths only can the greatest heights emerge for us. So I loved that. I'm holding that with me. Another thing that they talked about is that what's being revealed is actually what our true priorities are. I know for so many of us, especially in the Western world, productivity is held up so high, and we're seeing that fall away, this idea of productivity and what actually truly matters. And I know for myself, something really interesting that I've been noticing, I think those of you who know me fairly well, I tend to gravitate towards a lot of joy and a lot of excitement and dreaming really big and throwing myself into life. And what I found during this time is a lot of softness and a lot of gentleness. Part of it was having the virus, being utterly unable to do anything. But now as I'm starting to heal, I'm really noticing in myself a softening and a gentleness to what is occurring in the present moment, and just holding that so lovingly in my heart without needing to think forward or move ahead or be strategic or any of those things. So I'm noticing just loving how much I'm really very grounded in the present and finding such simple, sweet beauties that are feeling incredibly meaningful to me. And then the last thing that they talked about is that others' well-being is intrinsically linked to our well-being, and that we're all so deeply connected. And we're seeing very sadly the ways that minorities and the most vulnerable in our communities and in our world are being affected so disproportionately with this virus. And I think so many of us who are committed to social justice and to equity are feeling called to act, to slowly try to shift some of these deep structural problems in our world. And what does it look like to show up to that honestly and to each do our own little part in a way that feels very grounded in our own integrity? So the idea that this is all of our collective responsibility, I think, has been landing really deeply for me too. So I hope those are some fun nuggets to chew on. I would love to hear how this lands for you. The idea of that hope can only come from despair. The idea of what's really being revealed are our truest priorities. I mean, I see this so deeply when I think about all of the YouTube videos that are being shown with people singing all over the world, and the montages that are created of all of their voices uniting as one. The same is happening with dancing. The same is happening with uplifting healthcare workers who are really on the front lines, and we're seeing that kind of echoed in this idea that our well-being is also intrinsically connected. So let me know kind of how these things sit with you. I'm excited to be in dialogue, and blessings to each of us for a time filled with really tapping inward to invite new revelations and new uncoverings in each of our lives. Take care, everyone.